From the outside, their life looks fine. They wake up, go to work, pay their bills, talk to people, smile when needed, and function exactly the way society expects them to. Nothing appears broken, and yet internally something feels missing. Not sadness, not depression in the obvious sense, just a quiet, persistent emptiness. Psychologically, this state is more common than most people realize, and it is often misunderstood. Feeling empty does not mean a person is ungrateful. It does not mean their life lacks value, and it does not mean something dramatic needs to be fixed. Emptiness is not the absence of activity, it is the absence of emotional resonance. Many people who feel empty are not suffering from too little stimulation, but from too much disconnection from their inner world. They live in a state of functional survival. They do what needs to be done, but rarely feel deeply engaged with what they are doing. One reason this happens is emotional suppression. From a psychological perspective, people who learned early in life that emotions were inconvenient, unsafe, or ignored often develop a habit of emotional minimization. They learn to stay calm, to stay reasonable, to stay in control. Over time, this emotional control becomes emotional distance. They are not numb because they lack feelings. They are numb because they learned not to rely on them. Life continues, responsibilities are met, but internal meaning slowly fades. Another reason people feel empty even when life is fine is that their identity is built almost entirely on roles. They are the responsible one, the reliable one, the mature one. They know who they are supposed to be, but not who they actually are when no role is required. Psychologically, identity based solely on function leaves very little room for emotional fulfillment. The person becomes useful, but not connected, productive, but not alive. There is also the issue of delayed emotional processing. Some people experience loss, disappointment, or emotional neglect, but never fully process it, not because they are avoiding it consciously, but because life keeps moving. They tell themselves they are fine, and in many ways they are. But unprocessed emotions do not disappear. They settle quietly in the background, creating a sense of inner flatness. The person is not overwhelmed by pain, they are disconnected from depth. Another psychological factor is overstimulation without meaning. Modern life offers constant input: information, entertainment, notifications, noise. But stimulation is not the same as fulfillment. People who feel empty often consume constantly but feel internally untouched. Nothing truly lands. Their mind is busy, but their inner life is undernourished. Emptiness can also appear when a person's values are out of alignment with their daily life. They may be living a life that looks successful, but does not reflect what they genuinely care about. Psychologically, this creates internal dissonance. The person functions well, but feels disconnected from their own direction. They are moving forward, but not towards something meaningful. Another overlooked cause is emotional self-neglect. Some people are highly attentive to others, but rarely check in with themselves. They are supportive, understanding, emotionally intelligent toward everyone else, but they do not extend the same curiosity inward. Over time, this creates emotional starvation. The person becomes invisible to themselves. There is also the role of emotional safety. For some people, emptiness feels safer than intensity. Feeling deeply requires vulnerability. It requires uncertainty. It requires the risk of disappointment. Emotional flatness becomes a protective state. Not joyful, but stable. Psychologically, stability without connection often feels empty. Another important factor is comparison. People who feel empty often believe they have no right to feel this way. Their life is fine. Others have it worse. This self-invalidation prevents exploration. Instead of asking why they feel empty, they judge themselves for feeling it at all. The emptiness deepens. Some people also confuse peace with absence. They mistake emotional quiet for emotional health. But true psychological well-being is not the absence of discomfort. It is the presence of meaning. Emptiness is often a signal, not a flaw. It signals that something internal is asking for attention. Not more productivity, not more distraction, but more alignment. People who eventually move through emptiness do not usually do so by making radical changes. They start by reconnecting internally, by noticing what they feel without immediately trying to fix it, by allowing themselves to want things without explaining or justifying those wants. They begin to build a relationship with themselves that is not based on performance. Emptiness fades when emotional honesty returns. Not all at once, but gradually. Life does not suddenly become exciting, but it becomes more real. People who feel empty even when life is fine are often not lost. They are simply disconnected from themselves, and reconnection is not dramatic. It is quiet, intentional, and deeply personal. Emptiness is not a failure of life. It is an invitation to live more consciously. If this reflection resonated with you, you may consider subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore the quiet psychological patterns that often go unnoticed, but shape how people experience their lives.